I replaced all my broken game cases today. I'm very happy.
Nice.
I'm turning into a collector, and I don't like it, but I'm okay with it.
It is so easy for me to start collecting. I just do it, and I can't stop.
Like, it's only the stuff I'm going to play. It's not like I'm just buying video games to buy video games, but it's just I just like having the original version like of the box, so everything matches, and having the manuals. It just makes me happy.
I understand, but
Not
I try to
up cases.
I always try to buy like through the store, the online store, just so I have less clutter.
Yeah, I'm still not there yet. Some games, if it's like the series was only available on disc for a little while, or it's like just a download key, like you don't even need the disc, then like it's not worth it. Why would I buy Fortnite on a disc?
Yeah, and like, why would I want to buy Modern Warfare on a disc? I have it on.
Well, I mean, Modern Warfare is 3/4 of a hard drive regardless, but like even Minecraft, I have a disc, but I own the download version now. That's what I had first. I just have the disc. Terraria, I do have the disc, which that one doesn't make any sense. But like,
throw those away.
Yeah, I know. Shut the fuck up. Like you Telltale games or whatever. Like short little things that I'm not gonna keep on a shelf and replay. I try not to buy.
Yep.
Because it's not worth the effort of reselling it for like $3.
Yeah.
But it's better than buying it digitally and not being able to do anything with it. It just rots in your library. So I would rather get it for like
sale.
$10 on disc and return it for $2. Like I only spent $8 on it. Worth it.
I mean, it depends. Like I usually wait for those games to be on sale digitally for like $5 for the whole season. So I don't really care. And those discs are only the first episode. The rest of it's a download key anyway.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's true.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. Nice chair squeak, Jacob, right off the bat.
That was actually
he had to spice it up, dude. You sound so monotone saying it.
Lump.
Be like an anime girl for our viewers.
No.
They deserve it after this.
No.
Yes.
No.
Welcome to the Dime Bros. I can't. Why can I never say? Welcome to the Dime Bros comic.
You're stupid.
Welcome to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
That took a lot of effort for you, didn't it?
Yeah. Dumb.
That's all we're getting out of him the whole night, right there.
All of his energy is gone.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So we do actually have some interesting news this week. So Deadpool 3 is confirmed to be rated R, and it will be in the MCU, which is weird.
Shocker.
I like it.
I'm very interested just to see how it goes. In an interview, Kevin Feige also said, "Never say never to continuations of the Netflix MCU shows, as they are, quote, on the board as at least a possibility." So maybe you're telling me there's a chance.
Tell me there's a chance that what?
More Daredevil. Dum.
Oh, nice.
I need it.
I need black red suit Daredevil.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But that's going to be really hard to get because they already kind of did Shadowland in the show. So
that is true.
But
I mean, Shadowland was kind of but also great. Like it was just dumb 90s stuff.
The suit doesn't have to be connected to this plot line. It's really just a suit.
I mean, yeah, but why would you use the gray with the red accents? It looks evil for a reason.
I'm talking about the black with red.
So yeah,
one of the newest Daredevil runs.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
fair. That one does
because that's all. Because with that storyline, he also lost his his secret identity.
As if that doesn't happen every 3 different Daredevil runs.
Well, yeah, no shit. But I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, from the guy who just said, you don't have to connect the suit to the storyline, but I just like the suit in general.
What about the yellow?
I want the yellow.
I do love the yellow, especially when I saw some old concept arts and just like fan edits of certain yellow suits in like the real world. It looks really good.
I think you have to have a specific purpose and like a limited use for it, and then you can do it. The thing that I took out of this, not just the fact that we could get more of these characters, which is obviously great, is more the fact that Kevin Feige basically confirmed that he is considering them in continuity. So at bare minimum, they're not getting wiped from the board, which is great.
They are in continuity anyway.
They can make an executive
easily
decision
be not in continuity
because
they're very
none
loosely.
None of the television shows have really crossed over, except Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of, and that is kind of in its own timeline because of shenanigans. So they could just go, it was, but it's not anymore.
It's Legends now.
Right. Now that everything is under Marvel Studios directly, they could just go, But this is the implicit
I think they'd be losing
I
think they'd be losing a lot of potential profit if they got rid of Daredevil.
Absolutely.
Daredevil and at least probably Jessica Jones. I really liked season 1 of Jessica Jones.
Even the stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of. I think it really is an all.
I still wanted to keep watching.
Right, like you can't just be like, well, we'll keep some of it. Like you're keeping all of it and just improving it.
Yeah. I did not like Luke Cage season 2 at all. I couldn't finish it.
I understand that. I just disagree.
I think I finished Luke Cage season 2. I didn't finish Jessica Jones 2.
On a positive note, Iron Fist season 2 was a pretty solid improvement over the first one.
For sure.
I actually liked the first season of Iron Fist, don't kill me, but season 2 was definitely better.
I think season 2 was better. I was really annoyed that... Actually, I was okay that they broke up, but I was really annoyed that she got the Iron Fist and then he didn't have any until we saw the end credits. I'm like, okay... So he didn't lose the Iron Fist.
Yeah, it's weird.
But she still is cool with having the Iron Fist. Yeah. Like, I like her having it, but I don't like her being the only one to have it.
I like the direction that all the shows were going. It was clear that there was some sort of a plan.
Right.
But the fact that it's all technically before Infinity War in the timeline, so there's still... Nobody's getting snapped yet. I have no clue how they're going to continue it without just jumping really far forward in time. And I kind of don't want that. It feels weird when people gloss over stuff like that in franchises.
I think that would be fine though. Cause I
could give
then you're going over the snap again several years after the snap happened in our time. So it's like, I don't want to go back in time to get caught up to here.
I think
it would just be easier and less sticky to just start sort of fresh in modern day.
I think as long as they talk about the snap, like how they talked about Avengers 1, that we would be fine. And they didn't make it a giant plot, like a main part of the plot. It's just more like, we basically got kind of a reboot. Daredevil with yellow suit here now.
I guess it's just because so many of the shows ended, not on cliffhangers exactly, but on a place where they were very far away from status quo. Like the end of Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil. Well, Daredevil was kind of back to status quo, but and Punisher were all far away from status quo that the shows had been on. So just to chop off all of that storyline potential they were working towards and then just Punisher. Going fresh is understandable. It just, I don't like it. Anywho, we actually have some more Marvel show stuff before
we went on such a long bunny trail.
We did, but it's fine. So we have the official episode count and runtime for a few of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. So She-Hulk is going to be 10 30-minute episodes. Moon Knight, Loki, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier are all going to be 6 episodes at 45 minutes apiece. So cool.
It's weird that they're setting a time limit, whereas Mandalorian, they let the directors do whatever the frick they want.
Agreed. That is kind of odd.
6 episodes and 40. Okay. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about Moon Knight 6 episodes is like the trades, which are 6 issues each for the 2014 run, at least.
I don't know why. I think putting the hard cap on it is a little funky. These are obviously estimates. But I think what they were trying to allude to is the fact that She-Hulk is aiming for more like the sitcom runtime, as is WandaVision, which I believe is also going to be 10 episodes by the time we're done with it. And it is obviously under 30 minutes apiece. So you can read into that as much as you want or not.
All right.
So Morbius was delayed until October of this year. So I think we mentioned this last week. I was like, hey, this is weird. This is going to be a summer movie. Boom, delayed to October. So it's back in spooky season.
It's your fault that it got delayed.
Hey, you can watch it on Halloween. You're welcome.
Apparently, there's like a rumor of Tom Holland appearing in Morbius. Am I correct?
I mean, rumors are rumors. They come from anywhere. Literally, one person
I just
says
didn't
it
know
to
if
another
you heard
person. It's now a
anything
rumor.
to confirm or deny.
Nothing from any reputable sources, as far as I'm aware.
It makes sense to me because when I read that short line last week, it had Spider-Man in it, and I said that it really brought the series up because they're talking science, geeky, nerdy stuff with each other and trying to figure out the fix for Morbius. So, I mean, I'm good with Tom Holland being in the movie.
I think it really depends on how the Marvel and Sony, like the renewal contract works out, because obviously, sadly, they're trying to open up the Spider-Verse nonsense with the third one. So I think it kind of depends on how all that works out. So we have two announcements from DC. So from DCcomics.com, quote, Man-Bat, a 5-issue series starring the long-running Batman antagonist, debuts in February from the creative team of writer Dave Wilgosk and artist Sumit Kumar.
I like Man-Bat.
For years, Kirk Langstrom has struggled with his monstrous alter ego Man-Bat and the serum that transformed him, but he's finally hit rock bottom following a devastating setback. He's going to take out his anger on every single citizen of Gotham City. Will the combined might of Batman and the GCPD be enough to stop Kirk Langstrom once and for all, or will this just be the start of Man-Bat's devastation? End quote. I need it.
I'm excited. I love Man-Bat, and
Spooky.
I love Man-Bat, and I love the Batman Man-Bat and the Gods Among Us.
I want to know how spooky they're going to make Spooky Man-Bat, because...
Probably not that spooky.
Why? He's a spooky character. Like,
No,
even in the animated show,
but they probably won't.
Freaking spooky.
They probably won't. But they should. I mean, that's what I'm doing.
Is it going to be PG-13 spooky or R?
This is in
13.
So DC has 3 classifications for their media right now. They have the children's under 13 stuff. We have main continuity, which is the like 13 to 18-year-old stuff. And then we have the black label stuff, which is all 18 plus. This, from the looks of all the information, is in primary continuity. It's just going to be a normal miniseries set in whatever continuity shenanigans are going on right now.
So PG-13, you're telling me?
Yeah, probably. Hey, as long as it's vaguely spooky, I'm cool with it. I want more like villain-based miniseries. I think that's a really good idea.
Mr. Freeze.
Hopefully.
Sorry,
Please silence your phones.
Silence. So have an announcement from comicbook.com. Quote, Batman The Dark Knight will launch on April 13th with writer Tom Taylor, artist Andy Kubert, and colorist Brad Anderson at the helm, and will be a 6-issue limited series that takes Batman out of Gotham and on a European adventure. He will also be getting a new partner for this adventure as well, which is teased as either Knight or Squire, which are 2 characters from way back, and he'll need their help as he will be taking on a brand new villain known as Equilibrium, end quote. The art looks really cool so far.
Equalizer bowling. Only you and every Boy Scout that listens is going to find that funny.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Jacob. I don't know. He didn't laugh. He didn't laugh at all.
I am very much so looking forward to this because it's not clear if it is in the current Omniverse thingamajiggy or if it is an Elseworld story. And I really like Tom Taylor. Like, I was waiting for this announcement because nobody knew what he was talking about. He's like, I have a new book coming. You guys are going to like it. And everybody was freaking the hell out. And it's this. And the art looks really cool. And it's Batman, but in Europe. And
that's the part I'm hung up on. That's really weird.
Why?
But I'm not just Batman out of Gotham. Just
Gotham by Gaslight?
Eh?
Gotham by Gaslight?
I haven't read it.
Oh, that one's in Europe.
But it's still called Gotham.
I mean, Gotham can kind of be anywhere depending on the continuity.
This is true.
But this announcement says that he's getting out of Gotham to go on a sightseeing adventure in Europe, and it's like it just seems.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
Yes. So something I didn't include from the rest of the article. It showcased some of the art, and was talking about the fact that like this isn't like old man Batman, but like this is like old Bruce. Like he is a tank, but he's like a walking refrigerator. Like his legs are just pillars of stone, and he creaks whenever he moves. Like he's huge, and he's also old, so he's slow, but he's still precise. And that made me interested.
I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm definitely interested. It's just weird that he's out of his element.
I like it because it's something new. I'm getting kind of tired of Batman being in Gotham doing things with characters in Gotham.
Yeah.
And going back to the two potential sidekicks for this adventure are characters that were previously established like ages ago in another European romp. I like the fact that it's going to a different character dynamic. And also it's just very clearly very medieval knight focused with the name and the sidekicks and with the way that Batman looks. Makes me interested. That is the end of the news for this week. So
nice.
Cool. Do we want to go into the current television topic, or do we want to go in? Okay. Twist my arm about it. Why don't you?
I will.
So we are now going to be working on WandaVision every week until the series ends, because we need structure in life, apparently. So Colin said he has hot takes. I've already said I have hot takes.
No. I did not say I had hot takes. I said I had mild takes. Correction, okay? It's
we call
mild
those
restaurant style.
Oh.
We call those mediocre outtakes.
Ooh.
You.
We're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes since they were released on the same day and we've all actually watched them. So I guess we're going to be doing these reviews on the day of release, which is cool. Unlike The Mandalorian.
I'll say one thing though. I'm glad that we got 2 episodes, because the first one I didn't care about it at all.
Same.
Not one
I didn't want to be
the
the guy saying that. Yeah. It's it's not shit.
I thought it was shit.
But it's definitely not my cup of tea. Like it was
the black and white's incorrect.
It felt it was made to feel like another Dick Van Dyke episode. Like that's what it was made to feel like. And I haven't watched a lot of that because sitcoms aren't really my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to make viewing this show kind of difficult because they're kind of spoofing all of the sitcoms of the ages. So there is that. But yeah, I found that the first episode was really difficult to pay attention. I thought it was very, very cringy. But the second episode, I found a lot of enjoyment in. And it's just got a lot more.
The talent show.
Yeah, it's got better humor in it. And the characters are a lot less cringy. Not Wanda and Vision, but the other characters around town are a lot less cringy.
I liked the appearance of she played Kitty in That 70s Show, and she played the Mrs. Hart in episode 1. I liked her portrayal in that, especially when they had that really weird, creepy part. That was probably the only interesting part. I'm like, oh, she's just being creepy. That actress was actually surprisingly, by accident, really good at being creepy.
So
sorry.
Spencer.
So I agree with everything you're saying, but that's why I like it.
Shut the fuck up. So I hate it when you say shit like that. I agree with everything that you say, but you're wrong. But you're so wrong, bro. Like I know and I understand this art, bro. I'm so indie. Like you call me a indie hipster. Look at you, Mr. Beard Man. So
Preach.
Children. So I hate sitcoms. Like I genuinely despise them. There have been a total of like 3 in my life that I enjoy.
Same.
The Office would be one. What are the other 2?
Office, Parks and Rec, and I can't think of the other one. I liked Everybody Loves Raymond when I was a kid. I don't really like it anymore. It's fine.
Okay, I liked the first 2 that you said, Parks and Rec, Office, and That 70s Show.
I could not get into That 70s Show. I get why people like it. It's a comfort feel. I despise the live studio audience thing.
Yep.
Like that sort of.
And I hate the canned laughter.
See,
That didn't last long in the show, actually.
That's why I like The Office and Parks and Rec more, is because they're in the mockumentary. Like, there is the stare at the camera and wink because it's funny thing, but it's not and like everybody's just giggling and like the show stops for a joke for 2 minutes. That stuff bugs me. Like, I've just always hated those sorts of shows. But that's why I had to. You know when you cringe so hard, like you close your eyes for a minute? Me. That was me the whole time, but I liked the fact that I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most cringe-inducing, what the f*** is this nonsense? But I liked it just because what it looks to be doing is like, however the...
So in short term, Spencer has torture kink.
No. So the premise of the show is some way or another we're like basically in Wanda's head. And it makes sense that her perception of the world, whether it's how she actually thinks about it or just like in her dream state or whatever, is based on like the like old American sitcoms, because she is from another country where you know, that's probably all she was able to watch was like old crappy shows because that's all they had available. So it makes sense that it's, you know, different decades for different episodes.
Yeah,
it's definitely getting more interesting. I really like the random breaks of like, and it's creepy as shit now.
I like those. That's what made me like it a lot.
Right.
I like
what's got me hooked.
The looming sense of dread is very palpable for me anyway. Where like I'm just waiting for another thing. And there's very little in it, but it's just waiting. And oh, it's creepy now.
So the end of the first episode shows Wanda and Vision on a TV screen, and it backs away from that screen and shows a whole bunch of other screens in full color. And I believe it shows the sword logo.
Correct.
And in episode 2, there's a little toy helicopter that's found in full color in a black and white world.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of the name of an Underoath song. But anyway, the logo on that helicopter is also the sword logo. And also it has a 57 on it, which I read is a nod to Vision's first appearance in the comics in October of 1957. So the point that I was going to bring up is there is a part where Wanda is looking down the street, and she sees some creepy beekeeper crawls out of the sewers. So would that be Swarm? I haven't read articles about it yet. I came up with that on my own.
That would be absolutely hysterical if it was. I think shot in the dark, what's going on is because we kind of know of Sword, at least in the comics, is S.H.I.E.L.D. but in space. S.H.I.E.L.D. has been disassembled so many bloody times in the MCU, and then it was just recently reestablished with Spider-Man Far From Home. So it makes sense because Nick Fury's in space and we're getting all sorts of other space adventures that it's like just S.H.I.E.L.D. 2.0. So I'm thinking that because the acronym on that screen, it says something slightly different than what the comic acronym for Sword is. I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head.
Why do we need more of that? I'm kind of done with S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I've been done.
That's why it's Sword. They're in space.
No shit, but it's the same thing.
Well, now they're keeping track of mutants. She's probably in captivity under watch for some reason, is what it looks like, because they're watching her thoughts, how they're happening on a TV screen while monitoring other things at some sort of Sword installation.
And how did she get there? What timeline is it?
Well, that's clearly where we're going. Because if we have a decade per episode, we had the 50s, 60s, and then the end of episode 2 was going into the 70s. So the third episode's 70s. So by the time we get towards the end, we're going to be in modern day. So something's going to happen. Cracks in reality or whatever I just want all of it now. I don't remember if they said exactly how many episodes there are. It's either 8 or 10. So there's plenty of stuff by the time we get to modern day.
Colin is currently counting on his fingers.
And toes.
2030? That makes 9 episodes. For 9 decades.
Colin can count. I'm proud of my son.
I just really hope that there are Easter eggs that we didn't catch so that we can go back and rewatch this and find more enjoyment. Because right now it just seems like a one and done, simple burn kind of thing. And
I was unsatisfied.
That makes it feel cheap. So I really hope that there's something we're missing.
Speaking of that, so I'm just on the point of I'm really glad we're getting a show like this, not because ooh, yay, Marvel television, but like the idea of having shows to explore characters that potentially couldn't hold their own movie or would be more interesting in a television format, because I really, really like both of these characters, and I've always
they're more complex.
They can be in the movies. They like are alluded to, but they don't get enough screen time to shine much.
That's what I'm saying. These characters are more complex,
right?
But we can't find that out through a movie. That's why we have TV show,
right? Like their scenes are excellent when they're there, but there just is not enough. Their chemistry is off the walls now that it's giving more time to breathe, and I much dig.
Yeah,
dig much. Colin, what have you been up to this week?
I'm literally trying to remember. It's so hard. Oh, I started Attack on Titan again.
Write notes.
Colin can't write.
No, if I write notes, I'm just gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose them. This is my 3rd time trying Attack on Titan Season 2 because it's so boring in the beginning. Like Attack on Titan Season 1, AOT, I'm going to just say AOT. AOT Season 1 was very fast-paced. It was all in your face. Gruesome, killing people, dead mom, angsty teen, all this, like, you know, you're enticed. You have all of this all of this in your face, so you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then it goes into like slower storytelling, the type of anime that Japan has that's just, it's kind of bad because just of how slow it is, but it is somehow important. I do like the way that they tell stories in this, because how it is we're in modern time the whole time but we see flashbacks, and the flashbacks are important to what's happening. But the annoying part is every time something like this happens, someone has to say, but why am I remembering this now? And it's like, oh my word, shut the up. Why couldn't they have just taken that edit out for the American version? That's so dumb. That there's little I love anime, but there's just little things I really hate about it. But that's what makes it funny, I guess.
I have yet to get to Season 2. I really did like Season 1. That was one of the most highly recommended things on my list of anime to watch.
When did you watch it?
I don't remember. I think it was on Netflix for a while, a couple of years ago.
Oh, so you watched it a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I watched AOT Season 1 like when it came out on Netflix.
Yeah, it was
like 2016.
Something like that.
2015, 2016.
Yeah. And someone was like, if you can't watch anime because cringe, watch this. And I was like, oh, big things and fighting and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
I haven't continued it since then.
The lore is pretty good. See, I'm watching Season 2 on Hulu, so it's a little hard to watch because of all the Hulu ads. Hulu. I hate Hulu. Why do we pay for Hulu if there's already some ads? And I have to pay more money for no ads.
I also watched something on Hulu lately, so I have to go with Colin on this.
What the
Now that Disney is the majority shareholder of Hulu, so they basically just own Hulu, it's very strange that Disney Plus has one entry point, ESPN Plus has one entry point. There's a collection for that and Hulu, but Hulu still has the free version, the minimal ad version, and then the ad-free version. And it's just, how have they not gotten rid of that yet? It's like Netflix having like 5 different tiers. Basically, everybody gets the most expensive one anyway. Just get it over with and chop off the other ones. I don't hate watching ads in its entirety, because at least for Hulu, the ad breaks are only like a minute and a half long. And
now they are. I was watching Hulu years ago. They were long, and there's like 5 or 6 of them in one 45-minute episode. Holy I'm enraged.
I can tell.
You, Hulu. Holy shit. But yeah, AOT Season 2 is going pretty good so far.
Nice. Jacob,
Oh,
what have
he
you been doing?
flicks that switch.
Oh.
Retard energy on or off. It's just...
All or nothing, baby.
Alrighty. Jacob, what have you been up to?
We just went from talking about WandaVision, and I'm gonna segue into Godzilla.
Which one is the question?
I'm working on it.
He'll get there.
Take notes, he said.
It'll be easier, he said.
Everything's organized, he said. Can't find his notes. Can't tell you what he watched.
Excuse me for not writing down the year. The 2014 version of
the American
Godzilla.
I've never
Because
been able to read. I can only memorize words.
I was watching it and was like, holy sh! I forgot Elizabeth Olsen was in here.
That's a segue.
Yes, thank you. If only our unlearned son hadn't interrupted. This was my third time viewing it. I think it's the first time I made it all the way through, though. It's tough having an early job and watching movies late night.
You're such a sleepy boy.
I know.
So difficult.
It's unfair for me to be reviewing this movie because I'm watching it on the hotel TV, which is like 480p at 20 frames per second. So it's really, really ugly no matter what I'm watching. So I really, really wish that I could have seen this movie in theaters, like maybe even IMAX, because that's kind of what Godzilla is made for these days, is like the really big screens and the really awesome sound systems.
The only way he fits. Duh.
Right.
So big.
Big wide boy.
I really appreciated, though, that they spend a lot of time with the military and you're just the little person on the ground following the military, running around shooting at Godzilla because guns and stuff. Like, I really liked the boots on the ground feel instead of long swooping overhead shots.
Yeah.
My only complaint that I remember from past viewings and this one as well is that it's really, really, really dark for the final scene. Like, you can't tell what's going on, who's hitting who. Like, there's a reason, or there's a moment when Godzilla is pushed into something and falls over and like stops moving for a while. It's like, the frig's going on? Like, you can't see anything. Like, I'm sure it made it easier to render CG and stuff because you can't see anything, but it feels like they were obviously cheating, and that's the one detractor I have.
I definitely agree with you on that. That's one of the things people complained a lot about that I remember is like, oh, it's just lots of humans that we don't really care about. There's not a lot of Godzilla. I like seeing the impact that it's having more so than the actual monster, and the monster looks amazing when you see it.
So I read online that it was intentional to wait to show Godzilla until the very end of the movie. The suspense builds. Like, I get that, and it did kind of bug me that you see the humans for much longer than the monster. So it's kind of a directorial choice that you can't really sin.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that the final fight scene is so hard to see that the payoff doesn't really have as much punch as it should have.
I definitely agree with you on that. And that's why I hate Godzilla King of the Monsters, because it takes everything I liked about this movie and spits on it.
Great. Well, I was going to review that 2 weeks from now after Kong.
Nice.
I'm trying to do all my research for Godzilla versus King Kong. So,
you know what? That's fair. That is coming out this year as well.
So we only have
crazy.
4 movies in this franchise?
Yes.
3.
Well, no.
We're getting a 4th one.
Yeah, the 4th one's coming out this year.
Yeah. So King Kong, that movie is just introduction to King Kong. Because I did watch King Kong.
It's Godzilla, King Kong, it's Kong Skull Island, then it's Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then we have the versus movie that I don't remember the title of that's coming out this year.
Isn't it Godzilla versus Kong?
Probably.
I'm sorry. You technically missed something for news then. Did you hear about what we're getting for Star Wars? We're getting an open world Star Wars game.
It didn't feel necessary to bring up in the news because there's zero info.
Yeah, but the fact that it's getting open world. Like, how open do you think?
It depends, because I'm not very familiar with that developer's games.
Technically, Fallen Order was kind of open world.
It was it was like
it's as open world as Destiny is.
No,
it's less than
that's
Destiny.
an MMO, basically.
Yeah.
That's true.
It just didn't feel like it's newsworthy for Star Wars people or for game stuff.
I just thought it would be a cool conversation. I don't know.
I guess. Just because I thought the bigger part was the fact that the Lucasfilm is still going to be working with EA, but they expanded the contract out, so it's not just EA. So EA can still make Star Wars games, but they're not exclusive to EA. It's cool, but it didn't feel like there's much to come out of that, because we have no specific news. It's open world Star Wars game from this developer. That's it. No timetable, no internal timeline. Will it have a canon story? Will it not? Is it based there's no info at all.
I hope it's just totally new. Everything's new so far out in the future, or something. I don't know.
I think High Republic. I think they need to lean into that, because it is so far in the past. They have all the books, comics, and a TV series set in that time period.
That would work, because then Old Republic was a video game,
right? Why so you can get all the Legends fanboys to shut the up, because you can reincorporate half of what they want.
Yes,
you can finally get the neckbeards to stop talking about Darth Bane.
Chin strap.
Wrong. They would then start bitching about what was right and wrong about Darth Bane in the game. So
you're not wrong.
Spencer, what have you done?
So I did a Star Wars.
Oh.
Wow.
Brief thoughts. So I read the last Star Wars comic book limited series that I haven't read yet, which was Jedi of the Republic, Mace Windu. For a character I do quite like, mildly disappointed in this. It's a 5-issue miniseries from 2018, written by Matt Owen and illustrated by Dennis Cohen. It's got a basic plot, solid dialogue, pretty bland. It's just fine. There's nothing special about it. It's just Mace Windu does a mission and does some lightsaber. The art is solid. The writing is fine. Is
this one of the issues where it talks about him as a Padawan, or he had a Padawan?
Stuff is alluded to, but it's just set mostly during the Clone Wars period. There's nothing really special about it.
Because I read a comic about Mace Windu where it was how he made his lightsaber, or how he reconstructed his lightsaber.
Part of it is in there. It's just so boring, which is weird to say, because I like Mace Windu and
I feel like he'd still be a boring person, though.
Absolutely. I in the movies, he's boring. I like how they started giving him character in the Clone Wars, and I like whenever they reference him in other media, but it's just beyond that. It's guys, for once, coming from me, Legends did it better. And that's a rare thing for me to say. But Legends did Mace Windu very well. So it was fine. It's good. There's just nothing very special about it. And I have now read all of the limited series Star Wars comic books, so let me put my glasses back on.
Wait, you even Dr. What's her face?
Dr. Aphra is still ongoing, so no, I haven't gotten all
limited.
All the limited series. There's 15 of them. I have not finished all of Dr. Aphra because it's still ongoing. I'm not concurrent with the current Darth Vader, Star Wars, or Bounty Hunter books. I did read all of Poe Dameron, the first two Star Wars run, the first Star Wars run, the first two Darth Vader runs, and half of Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to stick to Darth Vader and maybe some Maul.
Probably a good idea. Stick to a lot of the limited books. They're a lot easier to read. Anyways, Colin, back to you.
I watched another anime. I started this other one called Killer Bee, or Killer Bee at the beginning. And
is that just the letter B referencing, or is it a BEE, or is it B as in I think therefore I be?
Is this an anime adaptation of the Bee movie?
I wish, but no. It's just it says B, and then in the beginning, the anime, that's what the anime says, and the character it's this police force, secret force, is investigating this guy who's been killing other bad guys. Basically, it's just a bad guy killing bad guys. It's kind of like if Dexter. No, it's kind of like if Dexter was anime, but also demon and can change his arm into a sword and have wings.
What you just said is already more exciting than how you're describing it. Because that sounds solid, but your attitude is like, this is the most generic, boring shit I've watched in forever.
Because it seems like all the other animes I've watched. I mean, now that I think about it, I think I only watch the same type of animes because that's the type of anime that I like. So that's why they all seem the same to me a little bit. But it's not bad. I mean, I don't know if I'll finish it, but it's kind of cool.
I have an artsy question for our son.
What's up?
Do you think they storyboard anime backwards like they write manga?
Possibly.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I think they do.
What? I was being a wise ass.
Well, yeah, no, because if you draw and write that way, then that's just your way of everything. If you're that's like the basis. So if you like writing is our basis, if you're writing that way, mostly anything that you do is going to go that way.
I mean, if it's a Japanese anime, it would make sense. If it's an American anime, they probably do it left to right.
No, of course. So like Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's left to right.
Yeah.
So American anime, because it's made by Americans. Made in Japan, it's going to be right to left.
You like jazz?
Lucky for the lefties. That's the only place that you can actually do anything that a lefty is able to draw or write correctly.
I know.
In other languages.
I gotta
You just push. I just thought about that, how lefties write. Like I go like left to right and I'm flowing with it. You guys are like pushing the paper. Like
yes.
That must suck. I feel so bad for you, man. That sucks. Just learn how to write correctly.
Learn how to write with a book with a spine in it. This is the reason why all of my notebooks are soft bound, but I can't rip pages out of them. They have to be that like basic ass composition book.
It sucked being in school, like writing all day, because this side of my pinky would be all black or blue. Like,
yep,
it was awful.
That was my brother's hands all the time.
Jacob, what else have you been doing?
So during my review of Godzilla, I mentioned that I like the feeling of the boots on the ground. I read a book this week, and I gotta zoom the camera out to show you this book. So bear with me. If this is Hellboy Short Story Omnibus #1.
Yes. Yeah. Look at that booty.
Holy
that's a huge ass book.
Is that a cover book?
That's really big to be a cover book.
What is that? Explain.
What the is that?
I read Marvels, written by Kurt Busiek and art by Alex Ross.
Alex Ross.
Alex Ross is like the dad. He is the boy.
My copy is about 2 feet tall and a foot wide. For a single page.
He paints his art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the only time I actually like painting in comic book.
It's gorgeous.
So, you guys are getting ahead of me.
Sorry.
That book, this oversized book, is $75 on Amazon. I got it for $20.
Not bad.
Because part of the binding was ripped and like not much at all. It's going to be a simple glue job. So I was wicked excited about that.
Glue job.
You guys were talking about Alex Ross. It took me forever to realize that the artwork looked like that of Kingdom Come, and doing research, I realized why. It was the same artist.
Yeah, Alex Ross is the only one that looks like Alex Ross.
Yes.
Quite. Yeah, it's weird.
So my boots on the ground reference. This book is about what it would feel like to be, or what it does feel like to be, a normal person with all of the superheroes starting to pop up all around you, and like living in New York. It follows a news reporter as, you know, the supervillains are fighting the superheroes and trying to snap pictures of it and sell it to the newspapers. And
I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Yes, exactly. JJJ is in it all the time because this news reporter works for the Daily Bugle.
Is it Peter Parker?
Peter Parker's in there. Book 4, the last book, is about Spider-Man and especially Gwen Stacy being thrown off the bridge.
Yeet.
Nice.
Yeah. I really liked I'm pretty sure it was book 3. Galactus shows up and starts wrecking the entire city.
That's a big boy.
Yeah. So it was awesome reading this book in the oversized edition because they were huge freaking paintings of Galactus. And it kind of followed
Big balls.
Same format. The left page would be the full page painting of Galactus or the fight. There's Silver Surfer running around and the Fantastic Four trying to fight Galactus. And then the right page would be the characters talking, especially the news reporter in his inner monologue.
Colin, Galactus does not have balls anymore. Before he was Galactus, he did have balls, but he no longer has balls as Galactus. Please continue.
What?
That is very important lore to have.
Is that actually?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it is. He was humanoid, but he's not anymore and has no balls.
Well, he still has masculine.
He has no dong. He did have dong long eons ago. Anyways, back on topic.
But now because he eats balls, he has no balls.
Yes.
Nice. I want to learn more about Silver Surfer because he seems like a cool dude.
He is a bit of a surfer dude.
Yeah, he seems cool.
So we have had several episodes where I'm bitching about politics and current affairs in comics. But I really liked this book because it subtly hit on things that we are dealing with today. So book 2 was about the X-Men and how the general population hates the X-Men, which is pretty much canon for every X-Men iteration. It's looking at the X-Men from this reporter's point of view, and he's confused about whether he should hate them or not. So there is a TV special, I guess. Help me out. It's not a debate. It's like 60 minutes, like a news report. There's like a special news report with Professor X and what's his name, Trask, debating the hate or love towards X-Men. And Professor X says, "You must not let ignorance, rumor, or unreasoning fear stampede you." To which Trask is like, "Yeah, so about that," and releases all of his Days of Future Past robots, which start tearing up the world, and it leads to riots in the streets. So I found that very interesting. And book 3 had some interesting notes on how the media works and like basically feeds off of fear of the people instead of actually reporting news. It's like they just report what's going to sell. So anyway, my point is that it was a very subtle touch on an interesting topic, and it left it at that. It didn't beat you over the brow with their stand.
I'm so proud of you for being slightly less boomer.
We are very proud of you, Dad.
I didn't really change my mind, though. I've always said it. Like, what was the book? It was Spider-Man Life Story or whatever the frig we reviewed.
Yes.
What was that one?
Yes.
Life Story? All right,
Yes.
I nailed it. Spider-Man Life Story. I said I like how there's like 3 different times where one guy says, "I think this way," and the other guy says, "I think this way," and before they can argue it, they move on. They get interrupted. It's like, I like this. You present 2 sides of a topic and then leave it alone. Like,
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, just a very light brush on it is fine. I don't like being preached to. Spencer.
So my remaining 2 things I did in the reverse order of what you'd expect. So I watched Hellstrom, and then the second one is I read one of the Hellstrom books.
Oh my gosh!
Are you okay?
No, I just did the same thing with Constantine.
Nice. Yeah, so I decided, because it's a character I have 0 familiarity with in any capacity, it would be interesting to see how the adaptation floated my boat before getting a bearing on the comics. So it's a 10 episode Hulu series that came out this year. Last year. Holy crap, it's 2021. Woo! So I really like it. It's not the best though. So I think casting wise, it's all really good. I think the actors all have good chemistry. It's clearly a passion project for a lot of the people involved, but there's a strong lack of planning and some of the scripting is pretty rough. The dialogue I thought was pretty solid, but like the structuring and the plan is kind of vague and a bit nonsensical. But for me, it was still enjoyable. It needs more character, not in terms of character work, but like it's very boring and gray looking. And you know me, I like my desaturated, boring, moody looking things. But when every single location all the time is pretty much the same day or night, it gets really boring really fast. But like the intro theme, the musical choices are all pretty solid, stuff like that. It's just sometimes it needed more visual flair. In some of the flashbacks, it adapts a monochrome plus like one color standout sort of deal, and I really did like that. Like it's in black and white, but this girl has like a pink headband on and it pops. Something like that, but more consistently, I think would have been a really good idea. I think Jacob would enjoy it because it has just enough like B horror schlock, but it's not too much.
Nice.
But it still has a bit of melodrama because every sort of horror schlock thing has melodrama to it.
So like Swamp Thing?
How
would you categorize that?
So to compare it to some similar things, less. Okay, so because it is demonic spiritual things, it bugs me more. Like those things creep me out more, but I think the show is a bit less visceral and gross than Swamp Thing.
Is that like Constantine?
It is. So the character in of himself.
2014.
What?
Have you seen the 2014?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would say this adaptation of the character being the first thing I encountered, and the show is somewhere between a Constantine, a Swamp Thing, and Ghost Rider. I do think it actually does have a lot in common with not necessarily the movie, but like the comics as a whole.
Okay.
But with a lot more normal people doing normal people things, like any normal streaming show. Like they just have a lot more personal drama than the comics usually do.
I'm really upset because I could have stayed up to date with Constantine. I had it on for the pilot on actual TV and was like gonna stay up to date on it, but I wasn't into comics at all like I am now. So I had no idea what Constantine was, and the opening scene was like spiritual horror freaky, and I was like, I just wrote it off immediately, and I shouldn't have.
Yeah,
that's like one of the first things that got me into creepy stuff.
Yeah. So I'm speaking exclusively about the show. I am separating my thoughts about the comics entirely because this was the first thing I saw.
When you're talking about Hellstrom now?
I'm talking about Hellstrom, the show.
Yep.
So it is, just to go over the MCU type stuff, there's very few connections, like literally one to connect it to the rest of the MCU, whether it be TV shows or anything else. I think the idea of having the Adventures into Fear, like have all of the spooky stuff on their own shows in their own little mini universe that could potentially cross over with the Netflix type shows, was an amazing idea. I'm stupidly pissed that they weren't able to do anything with it, because this show doesn't end on a cliffhanger exactly.
Was it good?
I think it's fine, but I enjoyed it a lot. So I think quality wise, it's that whole Spencer seeing the intent a lot more than how it reacts type of deal. I think both of you guys would enjoy it. Colin for the sake of, ooh, magic shit, and then Jacob for the sense of, ooh, creepy horror shit. But also, some of the horror is a bit generic. Like, there are definitely some pretty not great jump scares.
That's fine.
It's not excessive, though. It is a lot of screaming normal people trapped in cells doing lots of screaming. Like, there's a lot of that. The demonic stuff reminded me of Doom, like the video game.
Yes, let's murder the sinners.
Not like that. I mean more in like kind of in design. The There is one thing I can just tell you about. There's this one thing called a keeper demon. They're demons, but like good, kind of. Anyways, they have one eye in the center of their head, and they have runes written on their skulls. It reminded me of Doom, like really hardcore. This, for me, in terms of... So if we're putting it on a scale, I have seen all of the rest of the Marvel television stuff because I have no life. If we're going to take, excluding the Netflix shows, it is the best underneath like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 4 where there's Ghost Rider. And this is mid to upper tier Netflix. So like that again is in terms of enjoyment, not purely in terms of quality. A lot of it is just, this is a new character with some really cool chemistry and a lot of cool ideas I haven't seen before, and definitely not in a Marvel-based setting. Because as we know, DC has a lot more occult stuff, and Marvel's occult has a very different vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe the differences, but it's pretty clear which one's which. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the personal drama, which is weird for me.
So you're trying to equate or to give an honest review, and you've said that quality is less than enjoyment, but both are fine. So what price would you buy season 1 at?
Oh shit. Oh, that's a good point. I always like that idea of a ranking system of like, what format would you buy this? Blu-ray for the full season?
I was saying what price?
So for a full season of 10 episodes, which are all like 45 minutes roughly,
you buy everything in Blu-ray.
Right?
It would. You're not wrong.
Okay, hold on. Before we go on further, your scaling systems are so hard because you keep yourself perfectly in the middle so that no one can shit on you and no one can except for being in the middle. And you're still not in the wrong. You.
Big brain.
Shut up.
I would pay...
piss people off with my opinion.
I'd pay like $20-$25 for this on Blu-ray.
All right.
I don't think it would be worth it on 4K. I did watch it in 4K because I have a 4K TV and I watched it on my Xbox, but some of the special effects are really, really phenomenal. They're just very few and far between. And because the overall aesthetic is fine, but the color grading and the lighting is just bleh, it's not that exciting to watch. So it's not like, oh, you must get it in 4K because all of it's interesting. It's like, no, the effects are cool. But for the most part, it's just meh.
So that's pretty typical of TV, though. Like, I don't know of any TV show that I would buy in 4K. Because
that is fair.
It's not really filmed for that.
That is definitely true. I think there's a handful of things. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Yeah. So I think somewhere in a similar vein to Swamp Thing, not just because it's mystical, but like overall level of quality. Like there's some definite quality issues, but you can definitely enjoy it regardless, sort of deal.
Season 3 of Daredevil, I think, was 4K.
That is true. That was stellar.
But yeah, it's not usually filmed for that unless it's like a service special.
Right. And Game of Thrones is just so it's not worth watching in 4K anyway.
Yep. Moving on.
Yeah.
So, actually, that's a good point. What about Watchmen?
Watchmen is still Blu-ray, but it's close, and they don't have it in 4K, which is weird.
Did they film it in 4K?
I believe so. Oh, because everything's filmed in a higher resolution than what it's presented to the audience at. Like,
so they could release it in 4K if they wanted to.
Maybe. I have no idea. Like, because most movies and like most blockbusters at this point are being filmed in like 8 to 12K, and they're being released in 4K type deal. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
Colin, have you been up to anything else?
Not that I'm aware of. Oh, another anime. So since I watched Toradora and I love Toradora and I was looking for another comfort show, or just another show to watch while I'm just drawing, I started watching Little Witch Academia. I don't think any of you would like it. I barely like it, but for the sake of cuteness and some of the magic stuff is pretty cool. Like their wands are expandable, and so it's like a lightsaber hilt and then there's like this metal, like it's not even a point. It's like a pitchfork almost.
That's weird.
But with just 2 points. So like
a tuning fork.
Yes,
that's weird.
Like a tuning fork, and it just goes, and they go, bitch, you smack, and then like magic and it's kind of cool, kind of cute. Basically, I just have it on for in the background, but it's like about this girl who wants to be like the specific witch, and the girl that there's another witch that basically like found her.
So we're talking closer to Harry Potter witch versus Sabrina witch, is what it sounds like.
Very much in the middle. Oh, no, wait. Closer to Harry Potter, yes.
Okay.
It's like, yeah. So closer to Harry Potter. I try to stay away from some stuff like Sabrina, which is weird to say.
I definitely,
since I feel like I'm more in that area. But if I'm trying to find a comfort, and trying to find something to watch while I'm drawing or working on a piece, I'll try to find something that's just soft so I can have on the background so that I feel comfortable,
happy.
Yeah, I need some serotonin in my life, please.
You play Animal Crossing.
That's so true. That makes me so calm. It makes me so calm. It's just so nice, especially
Colin is a bit based.
Yes, I got this jukebox in my house, and you can buy CDs and stuff. Before I just put the CDs on my wall, and all of the CDs are made by this one guy called KK, and he has like a rock album, a metal album.
Can we give Colin his own weekly segment about Animal Crossing, and then the two of us can talk about adult games?
Oh my gosh, I'd love that. Anyway, I got this little jukebox, and I have like this. I had this like this organ playing in the background while I would play my video game. But now it's like KK rock, and so it's like, but like with such like baby noise, like baby instruments.
Weird.
I do not understand this game.
It's so funny. I love this game, and I keep getting mail from Abby because she plays, and she just mails me gifts all the time.
Jacob. So if we do have our own segment, it'll be like Colin in his corner, like, I played Animal Crossing and I got to pet the bunny rabbit, and I'd be like, yeah, so I played Doom on Ultra Nightmare.
Yeah,
I only bled through my eyes the whole time.
And then you guys talk about like whatever soft comic. Basically, the only time I'm soft is with anime and Animal Crossing. Everything else is like stupid witch magic and Sabrina and Constantine and Hellboy.
But also hoodie and sweatpants. You're a soft boy. It's fine.
Yeah, hoodie and sweatpants.
So
Jacob.
Marvel's felt very old-timey because it goes back in time to the beginning of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, and right when they start becoming a thing. I read something else that felt very old-timey, and that would be Spider-Man Noir 2020.
I was meaning to pick that up, and I didn't know if... Oh, you beat me! I don't like you.
You beat his beat!
Partly. So I read it on Marvel Unlimited. I read books 1 through 4, and it turns out that there is a 5th book that hasn't released to the service yet.
Aha!
But I looked at the actual book on Amazon, and it is $15, and I would say it's absolutely worth it. I am going to get it the next time I need free shipping. Like, I will just throw it on top and get this book because it is so good. It has awesome art. It's really hard to define it. There were a lot of color themes. So like they go to, I forget what country, but it's like Morocco or something.
Afghanistan.
No. Black Widow is there, and she's dressed up for the time, but she's got this wicked bright hair, red hair, and it's like sunset, so there's pinks and reds in the skies, and a lot of the buildings are painted red. So very thematic art, I guess, is how I would describe it. I wanted to say it's like two-tone almost. It's like black and another color, but it's not quite that extreme. There are some colors, but it's like 2 basic colors and then a few fine touches in between to make it look really, really good. So I really liked the artwork.
You confuse me so much when you talk about artwork because I have no idea how. Like the words that you're saying don't register in my brain, so like I can't even comprehend what's going on in yours.
You know all the technical names for art styles, and I am
Not
a noob,
really.
so I'm like trying to describe what my eyes are seeing.
The funny thing is, I feel like you're using a lot more technical words than I ever do.
So, question. When does this book take place? Because we had the original 2 Spider-Man noir books, and then he was involved in Spider-Verse and some other recent Spider event. So I think he's in like normal continuity, but I don't know, so that's why I'm asking.
Sure. So anyway.
Okay, fine.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it really matters. I think it happens after the first one. I think there's another one in the middle that I haven't read, and I have no idea what the timeline is. But I don't think it really matters.
Okay.
This whole book felt like a lot like Raiders of the Lost Ark, kind of. That same time setting and pulp feel, which I really, really liked. It wasn't as goofy as Raiders can be, but it has the exotic countries in it, and the thing that they're trying to find and fix is kind of a mystical piece. So it felt a lot like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It has some
big fan.
Interesting iterations of characters that I wouldn't have guessed. So like Tony Stark is in there, but he doesn't own his own weapons company. You know, it's something else. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's like it makes sense, but they changed characters and gender swapped some characters, and I think it kept the story fresh. Like it wasn't predictable.
Nice.
And it also kept the story kind of realistic and down to earth. So like Iron Man or Tony Stark not owning a weapons company, he owned a more realistic, lifelike company that just made it feel like an actual story instead of a comic book story. So I really liked it. I'm dying to read the 5th issue.
Nice. So back to Hellstrom. So I read Hellstrom Prince of Lies. It's an 11-issue miniseries from 1992. I don't think this was the book to start with. So brief history. There are 5 or 6 collected edition Hellstrom books, as far as I'm aware. There's been enough content, but it's mostly landlocked to the 90s because it's very 90s occult.
We like cults.
Yes.
I think he said occult.
I like that too.
So it's very discombobulated, which is weird because it's a mini series. Usually those are very focused. It is coming off of events of, I believe, the other stories and the other stories he's been involved in. This is the period of the 90s where there were a lot of different primary superhero teams, and they're all referenced like West Coast Avengers and Defenders and the normal Avenger. Like it's just there, and it's obnoxious for my liking. The art is very 90s occult. There isn't much. It's good, but there isn't a way to describe it. Like it does not age very well, but it is very of the times. Like we're trying to make this good for adults and not necessarily family friendly, but we're not trying to make it gross and graphic, but it's just weird. And can be a little gross sometimes. Very vibrant colors. Story is weird. It doesn't go anywhere, kind of. Like it sounds like I'm describing like a compilation of guest appearances, and that's not what it is. It's its own limited series about the character. It's very weird. And it just cuts in the middle of him having basically a midlife crisis and his wife having some shenanigans, and Doctor Strange is there, which was cool. So it's just kind of it's hard until like issue 4 or 5. I didn't totally grasp what the story was going on, like overall progression. Yeah, the dialogue I actually thought was pretty solid for dealing with weird characters I hadn't read before, and the melding of worlds of like Doctor Strange and then this character. So like some of the occult stuff and magic things, and then Patsy Walker, who's a cat. Like she's just a cat burglar, basically.
Cats.
Like the mixing of the mystical and like the semi ground level heroes was cool. I think this was a bad place for me to start though. Like it was really difficult to figure out what was going on, and the art didn't totally help with that. So I want to basically buy all the rest of the Hellstrom books, assign them, like order them chronologically, and then just read them, because it's going to make way more sense, and there's only a few of them. So it was fine. But I guess the bigger portion of that is I think the character on the show is very different, and I don't think it's a bad thing. At least with where this book is in his story, like in his life, they're not very alike at all. He is in the show much closer to a Constantine-esque. I really don't just want to call him a Constantine ripoff, because he's not, but it is much more of the self-tortured, I have a heart, but I can be a bit of a dick, but I don't know. And like the actor they chose is, I don't want to say very similar to Matt Ryan, but it's like the same dirty blonde hair, strong eyebrowed. I don't know. It just, the vibe is very similar, and that's not the vibe of the character in the book at all.
He's
like,
basically just a pity me party character.
Kind of, but like
that's
not
what Constantine is.
But less than Constantine. He's a lot less obnoxious about it. Okay. Versus the character in the book is like, I am the son of Satan and I know it. And I might have multiple personalities. I don't know. He's just a dick. Like he randomly goes into asshole mode. He's very self-aware of his own lineage, which is really, I think, the key. Is they're very different parts of the timeline of his life. Mm-hmm. It's very odd.
So moving on from a self-loathing character that also might be the son of Satan, let's talk about Hellboy Short Stories Omnibus #1, written by Mike Mignola, with art from many people.
This man's got segues for days.
Thank you.
So we have quite a few stories. We have Pancakes, The Midnight Circus, The Nature of the Beast, King Vold, Hellboy in Mexico, Hellboy versus the Aztec Mummy, Hellboy Gets Married, The Coffin Man 2, The Rematch, House of the Living Dead, The Crooked Man, the Panini Truck, The Corpse, double feature of Evil, The Iron Shoes. So I'm going to just say what my favorite were. My favorite were, like, of course, Pancakes, but not as at first. So it was Pancakes was really good, but I really liked The Crooked Man, The Corpse, and The Iron Shoes. Those are probably my favorite in this.
So let's go in order. Pancakes by Mike Mignola is a one back-to-back page, or just 2-page, depending on how you look at it, story about Hellboy discovering pancakes.
Yeah, basically, it's just really wholesome. Just Hellboy discovered pancakes, and he loves pancakes. And then
it's funny that all of hell is like, well, now he's never coming back because he found pancakes.
Yep, pancakes are.
That's the sense of humor that I really do love out of these stories, is that it isn't like, oh, random side story, we're going to pretend it doesn't exist. Hell's like, nah, there are other demons here. And they're like, oh,
truly, this is our blackest hour.
It's just so melodramatic. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So the next story is The Midnight Circus, with art by Duncan Fegredo.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah.
This one was really, really good.
I love the transition of art.
Exactly. So Hellboy runs away and discovers a circus that happens at midnight.
Yep.
And it is very intentional that the art style changes anytime it's depicting the circus. It's got a kind of smoky, dreamlike aesthetic to it.
The
tries
air
to go
is thick.
He tries to go
Yes.
into the gentleman only viewing
Yep.
station.
But he
find
doesn't
his
know
sister.
exactly what it's about. But yes, this is the story referenced in book number 4 when he sees his sister in hell. They show a brief frame or two of this story. So anyway, different art styles to depict where in the world we are. And I really, really, really liked it. This is probably my favorite story out of the whole book.
Nice.
Really?
I agree
said
with
probably-
Jacob on one thing. That's amazing.
The boobs?
No, that the story's good, dumbass.
Actually, that is in my notes. I said also this story is referenced in book 4 with his topless sister.
You have
Well,
a
you
weird
can't-
style of taking notes.
So the next story is The Nature of the Beast, with art by St. Michael.
Oh, yes. Sorry, it wasn't the Coffin Man. That was one of my favorites. It was The Nature of the Beast. I like The Nature of the Beast because Mike Mignola art.
Okay, so somebody recap the story because people are tired of hearing my voice already.
Colin,
Spencer, how about you go?
no.
Yeah, because I haven't.
I'm actually
haven't.
recapping.
I haven't really read this one in a bit, so
Nope.
Jacob.
A secret society hires Hellboy to go and kill a monster. That part felt kind of vague. It looks like it turns out to be an alligator or a crocodile or some sort of dragon or something. And I really, really liked this story because of how Hellboy kills the monster. He gets wrapped up anaconda style with the dragon and some sort of statue. And the statue breaks as he's getting hugged very tightly. And the sword falls from the statue and kills the monster. And that's how he kills the monster he was tasked to kill. So that was quite funny.
What I really liked from that story was that when they showed they showed Hellboy bleeding, and when he bled, a flower grew.
I did really like that touch.
Mm-hmm.
That was very, very nice.
So
I hadn't noticed that.
Yep, it's like the very last page, very last panel.
The next story is King Vold, again, art by St. Michael. My notes say it's a typical Hellboy gets tricked into fighting a monster for no gain, but a good moral.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
I was not a terribly big fan of it. It was just fine.
I think it's to do with something about basically a monkey's fist wishing creature. Yeah, King Vold is basically a monkey's fist wishing creature, where this bald character was asking for gold, and King Vold was like, "Take it!" and he's spewing out of his mouth. But as the gold comes out, it starts burning the man who asked for it. Now you can say you've shaken hands with King Vold as a coin melts through the man's hand and glove.
Life is good, but it can be better.
Yes.
Next is Hellboy in Mexico, which kicks off several stories of Spanish theme with Hellboy.
Like
this one is drawn by Richard Corbin.
Yeah, Colin really doesn't like this art, and
the more I read this book, the more I agree with Colin.
Really?
Yes.
It's so hard looking at that.
It's very 50-50 for me. It depends on what it is. Some things I like how it portrays the dry, arid environment, and sometimes it's just nasty. But when it's normal characters that probably shouldn't be nasty, it's still kind of gross to look at. And I don't like that.
This guy.
What?
True neutral right here.
So this book explains the piss poor intro to the 2019 movie.
Yes.
With Hellboy hunting down a luchador.
El luchador! Yeah, Hellboy 2019.
One day we will do an episode on it.
Is a discussion for a later time.
Yes.
All right, I was just explaining in the beginning. Nah, yeah, I'll save it for another time.
Yes, shut your face.
No, f*** you.
No.
This book this story, Hellboy teams up with 2 luchadors that are brothers, and they go monster hunting through Mexico and partying, and then more monster killing.
And more drinking.
Yeah. So there was a little touch that I really appreciated. One of the brothers gets kidnapped by spiritually evil things or whatever, and before he was kidnapped, when they were fighting monsters, he has a tattoo on his chest with a heart, I think, and a cross coming out of it.
Yep.
And then once he is turned into something evil and bad that's trying to kill Hellboy,
basically a vampire.
The tattoo has been changed into a heart with a snake wrapped around it.
Yeah.
A serpent wrapped around it.
I did like that.
I really like that little
There's some nice touches.
I like the story. I just hated having to look at that art.
I think the thing that makes the art difficult for me, at least in this particular story, is the very flat lighting for the most part.
Yeah.
There are some panels that have some very dynamic unidirectional lighting, but then some of it, like the second half of the story, is just very flat. And that makes it weird.
The thing I don't like that I found while reading this whole book is that the people are poorly proportioned.
Yeah, not in the good Mike way.
Like the Hellboy is fine and the monsters are fine, but actual humanoids are like have really big heads and small bodies, and it just looks weird.
Yeah, it's like they're a pop figure or something.
I do. Yeah. I like the story that it starts like this whole period of time that continues in the other stories of just Hellboy having that looming guilt from like so far back in his life of just, a few rough weeks there kind of just me up for a very long time sort of deal.
Yeah. Moving on to the Aztec mummy, I really like how we got a lot of Catholic iconography of Mary and other angels and such. We open up to Hellboy, of course, investigating a monster, then getting thrown through a building into this church.
That's pretty normal for him.
Yeah, and then he sees... It looks, I think it's a statue of Jesus, but it looks like it's literally just Jesus right there. So that's like one time I don't like Mike's art.
When Hellboy kills the Aztec mummy and a serpent climbs out of it, would that be the same serpent that is his sister in book 4, or is it just the same idea but a different character?
I believe it's the same idea.
It's just a different character.
Yeah.
Because she was red. That snake was green.
That's not the first time that happens. That's not the last.
It happens a couple of times in this book, and I was going to ask each time. I didn't like the huge exposition dump at the end of the story. That was a huge turnoff for me.
I love expedition dumps.
Bro, you can't even English.
Exposition. Expedition.
So anyway, the next story is Hellboy Gets Married with the art by Mike Mignola.
It's so silly. I love it.
I didn't mind.
Like this is how you take Mike's style and then turn it into caricatures.
Yeah, this actually feels like Hellboy. This feels like if Mike got drunk and started drawing.
Right?
So Hellboy being drunk during the whole part of it works so well. That's why I'm okay with this art.
I was gonna say more like Hellboy for kids, but
that's what I was thinking.
Really?
I was also. It looks so much like something I've seen before, and I can't put my finger on it.
Samurai Jack.
I was maybe. I was thinking the intro to Kung Fu Panda when he's talking about the Furious 5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea.
But I could be wrong. But yeah, it definitely has a similar art style to common cartoons.
Speaking of Kung Fu Panda, there's one of the like little short stories of the characters and like the 5 dragons or whatever they are, like the main characters, like the grasshopper. So there's like they did these little short stories, and it's like a fever dream that stays in my brain forever. The short story of like the grasshopper.
He's actually
not grasshopper. Sorry, praying mantis. Shut up. I know it's a praying mantis. But the praying mantis and how he learned to slow down and stop being so fast all the time. It's always stuck in my head.
So something else I noticed from the story is that anything bad Anytime something long-term happens to Hellboy, it involves a serpent. So the ring that he was given is a serpent. And it just, by this point, it seems like you're banging on the same symbol. But
yes.
I don't
I
know.
think it's just like a Satan thing.
Yes.
Yep.
So anyway, the next story is The Coffin Man with art by Fabio Moon.
Coffin Man.
Coffin Man 1 by Fabio Moon, and then Coffin Man 2, the remake by Gabriel Ba, or Bay, or Be. Anyway,
Hey,
More
I thought-
Hellboy for kids.
this was an interesting concept with a weak ending. And then I read part 2 and I said ditto. He loses to the Coffin Man twice, like it's no contest. So it felt kind of pointless, maybe?
I just love Monkey.
Probably just kind of like a Hellboy is gonna lose no matter what type.
I mean,
of
that
thing.
happens a lot.
Yeah, Hellboy loses a lot.
He's kind of a loser, isn't he?
But this one just knocks him on his ass, and that's the end of the story. It's like, bing, floor, done.
I would agree with you on that.
Okay.
Fine, be that way.
So
I don't know. I just don't. Some of these I don't have much of an opinion on, except for like the second book. So
yeah, so a lot of these are like it's literally just a Hellboy short story. Like
Yeah.
it was an idea that wasn't fleshed out. You can't really make it anymore. So just make it a short story and throw it in a collection book.
yeah, because they kind of like are a part of Hellboy, and you could have put them in the other books, but they're not important enough to be with the other books.
Yeah.
Actually, some of them are kind of important and should have been in there.
couple.
Yes.
Like especially the ones made by Mike. Some of those really should have been put in the regular book, but like
Yeah.
whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
Next is House of the Living Dead, art by Richard Corbin again.
So this is the short story I hate the most out of all of them. It's just I like the premise as a continuation of that story from earlier, but just the art on this one, in all honesty.
Yep.
And then like the idea of resurrecting the character and having him just be a blob, and Hellboy just has to fight him for the enjoyment of the scientist boy is fine, but like it just makes me so uncomfortable to read, and I'm not sure why. It's just kind of gross, and not in a creative, this is horrific. It's just like, yeah, this is a resurrected body with lots of Frankenstein bolts, and also he's got bolts on his nipples. What the
Yeah.
So they have that main monster to fight, and then they find a werewolf, and then they find the Brides of Dracula, and then they find a vampire, and then like it just goes on for a long time, and there's too many monsters and too many ideas in the same story.
I do like that Dracula got killed so fast as he was like brought back to life.
Yeah.
Right. So next is The Crooked Man. Looks like I forgot to write notes on that one. This is in the backwoods of Virginia or something.
See, Appalachian Mountains.
I don't feel like there's too much importance about this one, really.
This one is also written by, or art drawn by Richard Corbin.
Yeah, and this is a story that I really enjoy, but the art makes it very difficult for me to read. The
like
Crooked Man himself is absolutely horrifying.
That's probably the only thing I liked about that. That's
like,
the
that
only
is
time that
nightmare fuel for me.
That's the only time I liked that art is for the Crooked Man because of how grotesque.
Yeah, it works with that, and the rest of the story premise is really cool. It's gross and
I love the idea of crooked like bodies and shit. It's just so
this
gross.
Story is very unique among the other stories in this book.
Yes,
and
this
actually
is very body horror centric.
Yeah, I really, like Spencer was saying, I really appreciate the idea of this one, but some of the artwork again is just ugh.
Yeah, I do like how the end of it is kind of just like a zombie standoff a little bit. That was kind of cool, and then it just turns into absolute, like this one I was reading at work, and I actually had to stop reading it because it was like really late at night. I was working a late shift and I was by myself, and I got so unnerved that I just had to wait until the next day to finish it in the daytime because it's just so nasty.
It's pretty gross.
So next is the Penangalan, art by Mike Mignola. My notes say it's enjoyable but too short at 8 pages?
Yeah,
7 or 8
loved
pages?
this one. Yeah, it's really short.
Yeah, there just isn't much to this one.
Why
is it all the Mike's stories are the short ones?
Because he probably has a great idea and then says, no, that's dumb, but draws it anyway because he's encouraged to and leaves it at that instead of fleshing it out.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
True.
Next is The Corpse, art by Mike.
That should have been, the corpse should have been in book 2.
Yes,
probably.
Yeah, this is
book 1 or book 2, or even like
probably the beginning of book
3. Yeah, yeah,
because it introduces the pig-like monster thing that's trying to raise the witch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely like the most important short story. I really like the action, and this one in particular, it is very whiz bang pow.
Whiz bang pow!
It gives Hellboy a very set series of tasks he has to complete with very, very set directives. Like, I need to go here and do this.
And it's repetitive.
That didn't work. I need to go here and do this. And it's
I must bury this dude.
No, you cannot bury him in this graveyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I bury him here? No!
Basically, and it doesn't go on for too long, but it is more than just a handful of pages. It's a solid story with some actual interesting ideas that get fleshed out.
I like all his Mike's like Irish/Scottish lore that he adds to his drawn pieces.
So next is the double feature of Evil, art again by Richard Corbin. The first story in the double feature is Sullivan's Reward.
I think this is much, much better work on his part in terms of art.
Yes, very much so. I also like that the story is heavily influenced by, or is a nod to, or however you want to say, to Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes, this is very poetic. Off. No.
Next is the House of Sebek.
Sabak?
Nope, Sebek. There's 2 E's.
The card game from Star Wars.
That's Sabak.
I know, I just said Sabak.
No.
All right, fine. Don't let me have my fun.
This one uses Egyptian lore.
And being a big Egyptian boy myself, I do quite like this story.
That's only because of Assassin's Creed Origins.
It was before that. Shut the f*** up.
You're just a nerd. You boy.
This was the shit I studied as a kid the most.
Spencer said, like, the first week that we started talking about Hellboy, this book uses a lot of different mythologies, and I really like that. It goes all over the place and uses just every kind of mythical monster and god and whatever else for Hellboy to chase down and beat up and make stories with.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was a lot to work with. The short stories were really good, and they were definitely vital to the creation of Hellboy, or the further the story of Hellboy, which is creating more ideas and expanding into other cultural lore for Hellboy. It was really good for Mike to dive into that.
Do we have any thoughts on the Iron Shoes? Because this one is very bland to me. There isn't really anything that special about it.
I love the Iron Shoes. I think,
art by Mike Mignola, by the way.
Yeah, that's like my favorite one besides
Why?
the corpse.
It's like 5 pages and there's
don't know. Just dude with iron shoe, little goblin looking dude with iron shoes jumping around being like, yeah, my iron shoes.
That's
that Hellboy.
It. That is literally it.
Yeah, it's funny. Also, there's lore to the iron shoes and what they do.
Yeah, all exclusive. It's all external though.
Yeah,
it's whatever you go look up. There's very little information presented in it.
So I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I thought this was a very flat note to end the book on.
Yeah, for the ending of the book, it's a bit of a dud.
Yeah, extremely.
I guess. I don't know. I liked it a lot.
Like it at all. So when Colin said it was one of his favorites, I'm like,
yeah, no, the really short ones are my favorite.
Whack.
Except for the corpse. That's not that short.
I do like the
size.
concept art in the back of this book in particular because it demonstrates so many different artists' art styles.
It demonstrates
in their
the
pencil
sisters'
forms,
boobs, of course.
So it's not just sometimes colors can take away from the difference in the art styles and the different shapes and line types they use. And watching it in pencil form is awesome.
Yeah.
I like that it expands on the artwork from the Midnight Circus. He talks about what he did, how he made it, and how he incorporated it into his story. And that was really, really good stuff.
I definitely agree.
I concur.
Any final thoughts on Short Stories number 1?
Not really, no.
No, I think I said everything I wanted to say.
Nice.
So feel free to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Send us an email at dimecomicbros@gmail.com. Send us hate mail, spam, memes, topics, anything. I will interact with you. We do have to do a Patreon shout out for our single patron. As always, Business Casual. Thank you for giving us money.
Thank you, Business Casual.
Thank you. That money this month went towards Spencer's casual business wear. He took a bunch of comic books that nobody else would have bought and made a chastity belt that he proudly modeled for us last week after the episode.
You scarred my girlfriend. You saw that on Facebook and then you immediately deleted it. And she's like, you! You delete it? They've deleted it sooner? Like, she was not expecting to open Facebook up and then see your fucking ass in a chastity belt. Saying Sandy walks.
So we do have a Patreon where there is more photos of me in a chastity belt, if anybody's interested.
I took those photos, by the way.
Stop
Yes,
scaring away the Patreons.
Anyways, yes, we do have more than just the OnlyFans on Patreon. We have some different art pieces. You can vote on topics, talk to us, get some exclusive content here and there, early access to episodes, the whole deal. Yeah, and then so next week we are going to be discussing Kingdom Come, the limited miniseries from Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Colin won't be here because he's a sad boy. What do you have to say for yourself, peasant?
Wait, when is that next week? I'm going to be spending time with my girlfriend.
Unacceptable.
So you?
Unacceptable.
It's very acceptable.
This is acceptable.
I had to restart my Animal Crossing world because Abby started the world on one of her, like on her account on my Switch instead of on mine.
Oof.
So I had to like go from my island to her island 4 times, put all my stuff in her island, restart, get all my stuff from her island, and then start from scratch of like miles and shit.
It's not the first time you've put your stuff on her island.
Oh boy.
Yucky! Oh shit. Come on, you little bitch.
Talk to it.
Wow.
Technology, man.
You with technology.
Cyberpunk 2077?
No, just one of the machines that has like the big iron rod with the dildo on it.
So, like, what happens to sheep in Minecraft?
Yes.
Damn.
Oh boy. So is everything sounding solid over there?
Yes.
Cool. Everything seems solid over here.
Especially Colin.
Nice.
Well, all of this is getting cut because now you're referencing
Damn,
horny,
like I'm super horny, huh?
Yes, we all are.
Not compared to you guys.
You were the one to break the ice tonight and mention Spencer's torture kink.
Because it just came up perfectly. It just was perfect.
Wacky.
My feet are sweaty.
Mine too, actually.
They smell. It's the socks. I can't wear socks. They get sweaty so fast. Here.
It's a lot of words.
I can't read those.
Colin, you just can't read. That's why we have a comic book
This
podcast.
is why I
They're
draw
picture
pictures.
books.
This is why I make picture books. Spencer writes all the words for me because I don't know them.
Wait, left-handed too?
You didn't know that?
We just established this before.
Yes. I'm not the only one that doesn't pay attention to beard boy.
I'm gonna note that and then put that away for later.
Put it in the beard.
It's the tree of knowledge.
That's how he's getting so smart. His beard's growing longer. He's able to store things better. That's why I can't remember anything. I got this pube hair.
The single pube hair.
I've
got many pube hairs, but you've got just one.
Yeah, you got many pube hairs, so you're able to remember something.
Shrubbery.
Speaking of ginger beer, I bought this ginger beer the other day because it looked cool and it looked like it was real beer. And I was like, wow, I'm such a little teen. And I got this non-alcoholic ginger beer. And I grabbed a can, got a mason jar out, stuffed in my ass, took it out, put some ice cubes in there, and then just poured it in. And I had a little sip. I'm like, this is through the mason jar, through the can, took a and then I went on my merry way.
Yeah, I'm low-key proud of.
Why are you braiding your hair?
Because I wanted to see how long it would take for Colin to notice and say something funny.
He's a Viking boy. The emo boy.
Did you just call him an emu?
Emo.
Sounds like you said emu.
You're the emu.
Thanks.
Skinny ass legs. Don't do that with your hair. What the
Colin is so triggered right now.
Yeah, stop. I can't even look at him.
Stop.
I can't even look at him. You look. Oh, I can't.
You're so violent.
He looks like those gross ass ladies that all their hair is put up except for a little bit of their hair the hair in the front, and it goes to the side. And it's greasy down their face. It's like,
alrighty then.
Here I am trying to turn Colin on.
He's right very so dry, drier than the savannah.
What if I braid
desert?
What if I braid the chin?
Yeah, braid the pubes for me.
Now
please.
I'm getting excited.
Do you want to end this?
That I was tempting to, and I didn't have an end bit.
Well, you know what they say. You gotta eat ass.
What's that supposed to be?
I was gonna say more, and I forgot what I was saying.
That's very you.
Yeah, I've never heard them say that.
Remember, eat grass, smoke fast, and sled ass. There we go. Good night.
I've never heard of this.